Radio Rahim with Dmitry Salita here at a huge stage. Obviously, Anthony Joshua facing your man, Jermaine Franklin. You gave quite an eloquent description of why you think Franklin has a shot on Saturday night. The odds makers may disagree. The scribes even are not giving him the favorite. What is it that all of them are missing that Franklin has on Saturday night that will shock really the world?
So first of all, I want to say it's great to be back in England. I love big fights in England, and I'm very grateful and honored to participate in this event and to be interviewed by you. Last time I was interviewed by you, I got a box of cigars from one of the GOATs, Mr. Bob Arum. That was a fun time. Yeah, good to be back here.
I got to get good enough where he gives me cigars.
You're there. Do you smoke?
No.
You say, but if Bob would give it to me, I would, right?
Yeah, I would put it in a glass case on the mantle.
There you go. That's right. So I think, as I said, this fight is about will, not about skill. And Jermaine's will is bigger than Joshua's skill. I think that Anthony Joshua is an amazing fighter, accomplished something that few have accomplished, world champion, incredible paydays. When a fighter is faced with an uncomfortable situation in the ring, the hunger in him, people say, oh my God, look at how he's fighting, he's so hungry. The hunger is in him is, I want to be a champion. I want to win this fight so I can pay next month's rent. Anthony Joshua has all of that. He doesn't have to worry about it. He's now fighting for next level of comfort that few know, that few in the world know. He's a celebrity. He's a very wealthy man. He's a world champion. You know, he is one of the few very, very accomplished people in this world. Jermaine Franklin, on the other hand, is a very hungry fighter. He doesn't need any external motivation. He knows that he wins this fight is going to change his life. He's going to become a celebrity. He's going to be in line to fight for a world title. He's going to make mega life-changing paydays. His life is going to change. Everything that he worked for will come to fruition. And he's young enough, and he's hungry enough, and he's experienced enough, because in his last fight with Dillian Whyte, fighting thousands of miles away from home, he was able to put on an incredible performance. He's in better shape, as you've seen. I've been in camp with him a couple of weeks ago. He's hungry. He is fine-tuned, and he's ready to score the big upset.
You mentioned Bob Arum.
So the key to victory for Jermaine is he has to make Anthony Joshua feel uncomfortable. That's the goal. The goal is that he has to make Anthony Joshua feel uncomfortable, kind of like Ruiz did. But it won't take as much.
You mentioned Bob Arum. I've got Eddie here to my left or right, and you being a promoter and having your own goals, your own ambitions, I'm sure you would like to be the promoter of the heavyweight champion of the world one day. What has it been like, the challenges of putting yourself in a position to promote a world champion? You've got Clarissa Shields. You've got quite a few belts in the female division of boxing, but in this male division, what's it been like climbing your way to the top as a promoter?
Great question. And one of the things that I say, that boxing for the fans and for the fighters and for the business has to be inclusive, not exclusive. And I'm fortunate enough to get some dates of my own on Showtime, starting some other working relationships. But for boxing to be successful, we have to be inclusive. And that means that I have to be able to make a fight with Eddie Hearn, I have to be able to make a fight with Bob Arum, I have to be able to make a fight with PPC, as I have done last year. Clarissa was with Boxer on Sky, Jermaine was with Eddie, then I have Vladimir Shishkin with PBC, fight the IBF Eliminator. So it is very challenging to make it to the top, so to say, because as you're climbing there, this guy wants to take one guy, and this guy wants to take that guy, and this one wants to whisper in somebody's ear, and that guy wants to whisper in somebody's ear. So it is very challenging. My process has been to find the talent, and then to get the network, to get the fighter so good, and to identify that he's so interesting that at one point a big network is going to call me. And someone like Eddie and Arum function from a different model. They have a deal, they have a date on June 17th, and they know that they have a certain criteria to fill. So, and based on that, they attract fighters. They don't, and their talent selection process can be faultier than mine, because they have a budget to work with. One of my strengths is that I've shown to time after time after time after time sign fighters that pretty much 9.5 out of 10 make it to the top in every weight class. And that's been my strength, and that's why I've been able to progress so quickly to this level.
As Aaron will certainly tell you, and Eddie Hearn has experienced the same, sometimes other promoters are not always the challenge. Your own fighters in your own stable can cause quite a bit of uproar and difficulty in you accomplishing the goal for yourself and for them. Yeah. I know it's uncomfortable, but we are fight week, and the news is a bit shocking that you're at odds with your own fighter, days before a stage like this. First, him suing you, it seems like there has to be some reconciliation of that, a resolution before Saturday, no?
So when you say surprise, tell me about it. I mean, I found out about this from a reporter. The resolution, my contract is not at risk. It's a frivolous lawsuit, as I said out in my statement. It has nothing to stand on, and it will be dealt with legally in a proper way. My lawyers are actually at the fight and are going to be dealing with it in an appropriate way, in an appropriate time. I'm not a lawyer, but based on what some of the best in the business have told me, there is no merit to this lawsuit. And sometimes things happen and fighters speak to people, and I'm not sure what happened. But it's very damaging to the brand, because the narrative from 50 years ago has been that, oh my God, if a fighter is suing a promoter, it must be so terrible. He must have, and I believe that back in those days it was pretty bad, and fighters did have bad conditions. Like Sugar Leonard got praised for having Mike Trainer because he was a fighter that had an attorney. These days, thank God, a lot of fighters have representation, as they should. Jermaine has lawyers and has managers and advisors and etc. So the narrative is that upsets me is that people say, oh my God, a fighter is suing a promoter, the promoter must be the villain. But this is the truth. The facts are, I signed Jermaine when he was virtually unknown, his first fight with me. You were at that fight when he fought Rydell Booker in Atlantic City on Showtime. His first fight, career high payday, fought on Showtime and on television many times, and got road rated, got him a fight with Dillian White, incredible opportunity and incredible matchmaking, because he was fighting an older guy with a big name. As he's fighting with Anthony Joshua, an older guy with a big name, he has everything to gain. And I believe I'm very satisfied with the job that I did for Jermaine. Everything that I promised him, I've delivered on. And it is uncomfortable and unfortunate. And I obviously spoke about this with Jermaine's managers. But I didn't bring it up to Jermaine because I don't feel it's appropriate for me. The most difficult job is for the guy to get in the ring and take care of business. So I don't want to put any pressure on him to deal with this. So I was nice and cordial and did what we had to do, but I did not bring this up in any way. The problem is, or what raises some red flags for me, is that a reporter from the UK emailed me about this. I had no idea that a lawsuit was filed, and that his team, who I know for 4 years, who I've been working with, didn't have the courtesy to call me and tell me that this was coming, and to file it and to cause this tension the week of the fight. I don't see the kind of the meaning and the benefit to anyone in this. And the fact that instead of talking about Jermaine's chances to win, we're talking about this at his press conference is just very unfortunate. It is what it is, but it's unfortunate.
And you're right that because of the history between the relationships of promoters to fighters, and then sometimes they don't even have managers, that it's probably up to the promoter to prove himself innocent in most people's eyes. The disputes over money, whether or not you're the main promoter or the co-promoter, whether or not you're supposed to be taking the cut that you're taking. And as you talk about your brand and the way people perceive you as a promoter, you don't want to come up under a cloud of suspicion. If it can be cleared up, can you just describe for us what it is that the financial relationship is, where the mistake is being made with this lawsuit, so that people understand what the accusation is and what the misunderstanding is?
I cannot get into the details of this particular case, but I will talk about the boxing business generally. Generally speaking, most of the fighters that I promote, we're on the same side of the table, so that when a certain amount of money comes in, we both know how much it is and we know how it's being split. So in the boxing business, for boxing to be successful, we're not the UFC where it's all inclusive. Promoters have to work with promoters. I work with Eddie. I do fights with Aram. I do fights with Boxer on Sky, with Al Heyman, and I do fights and they do these fights with each other. And when one enters into an agreement with another promoter, so let's say Tyson Fury for Vladimir Klitschko, that was in Germany. I'm sure that that Vladimir Klitschko's promoter did a provision of services agreement where they rented, so to say, or granted the rights of Tyson Fury to fight under Vladimir Klitschko based on the deal that they made and based on the deal that I think it was Mick Hennessy negotiated for Tyson Fury. And this happens all the time. I don't know the details of the big fights, but I'm sure there was some element of it with Fury versus Wilder. I mean, it happens all the time. Whenever you see different promoters fights in association with, this is what happens. So what happened here is completely industry standard, and everything that happened here, Jermaine knew about, and there's no secrets as to what happened. It's not like I'm not getting $1 that he doesn't know about. Everything is transparent, and he knows about it. His managers know about it, and so that's it.
And lastly, how does this affect your relationship on the week of the fight? Are you guys speaking? Are you able to put this aside for the mission ahead on Saturday?
So I with Jermaine, I'm greeting him and I'm nice to him and cordial to him. I don't feel it's appropriate for me to bring this up in any way because he has a lot on his mind, and he has to be literally focused as he has been on this fight. That's why it's awkward for me. Not awkward. It bemuses me as to why they would want to file this lawsuit this week and raise these questions and have a conversation at a press conference where I'm interviewed. It's no fault of yours or anyone's, but that this is a matter of discussion, not what did Jermaine do in training camp, how he's going to win this fight. That should be the matter of discussion. The focus should be on Jermaine. So this is not the time nor the place for me to talk to Jermaine about what the issue is.
Are you able to talk to him about other things? Are you guys...
Yeah. Yes. I spoke to him and his team in the locker room, spoke to him in the lobby, spoke to me and his trainers have a good relationship. They're real boxing guys. We have a very open and honest communication. And I spoke to his managers and asked them what the thought process behind this is. And in the United States, anyone can file a lawsuit against anyone for anything. And we're blessed with a legal process that will shed the truth on a situation. And I estimate it'll happen in the near future. And the boxing fans hopefully will see what it's about. On my social media, so many people are posting this insane stuff based on this lawsuit and vilifying me, and there's with no substance. So that's what bothers me. As a boxing fan, that's what bothers me.
This is the last time that microphones will likely be in your face. The weigh-in's next, and then the night. What are your final thoughts or words for Jermaine Franklin before he climbs through those ropes on Saturday?
Oh, I've told Jermaine when I was in training camp with him, and I said it to him in the locker room. Jermaine's key to victory is to make Anthony Joshua uncomfortable. He has to make him uncomfortable a couple of times during the fight. If he's able to do it, he wins by stoppage. Those are the keys to victory. And I believe Jermaine has the mental strength, he has the chin, and he has the condition to be able to accomplish that goal. And that's what's going to make this fight so interesting. And between the two of you, no matter what happens Saturday night, do you feel like there's a relationship business-wise to carry forward beyond this moment? Oh yeah, I really believe that once the truth comes out, everything's going to get fixed and go back to normal. I hope so, because what happened here makes no sense.
Radio Rahim with Dmitry Salita, making a lot of sense as far as what a promoter has to go through to build a fighter, build a career. We'll see when it all comes out, how it shakes out. But your idols and the people that you work with have all been through something like this on multiple occasions.
Eddie was it's just we got through this last week, I think.
That's right.
Unfortunately, it's part of the business. I don't know about that situation. I can only comment on mine, but it is what it is.
Yes, and
and the good thing about it for the sport overall is that like fighters these days are equipped with, as they should, with representation, and it's obviously encouraged that fighters have lawyers and managers and people that advise them to make the right decisions.
We should all wait for all the facts to come out, for this to be adjudicated in the manner that it definitely will be before we make any full judgments about anybody.
Right.
And so...
adjudicated.
That's right.
That's a big word. I like it.
Yes, and until that happens, nobody really knows anything. And so up until this point, I've seen you as a stand-up guy, a solid promoter. You've always kept your word with me. And, we'll see if this thing with Jermaine Franklin, maybe you guys are celebrating and popping champagne come Saturday night and all is forgiven. But whatever happens, good luck.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you being willing to address this. And, it's always a difficult time when you have unstable infighting with your fighters. But putting that aside, good luck Saturday night and good words for Jermaine. We'll see you at the O2 Arena. Radio Rahim with Dmitry Salita.